So the purpose of wizard school, an online wizard school, is to understand the true magic of this world. Now, if you think of magic, you might think of clairvoyance, you might think of psychics, you might think of channeling, energy healing, tarot card divining, summoning spirits, telekinesis, anything you've heard of or thought of related to a power of consciousness or a mystical ability. There's a lot of people who claim to have these abilities, some who have been caught on camera, and many that have been falsified. So one of the things Wizard School is going to teach you is a series of concepts to use abilities which may seem mystical that have immediate practical value in your life. I always like to say, what happens if you had all the powers you could pick at any one moment? Well, as Dean Radin, president of the Institute of Noetic Sciences, once said, if magic were ubiquitous, the world would last 30 minutes. So let's get started with an introductory topic. And I'd like, as I speak, for you not just to take this concept and try to analytically understand it, but for you actually to do this exercise as I'm pointing out instructions. And so I'd offer to you to either close your eyes or try to understand this material however you can. Now, I'm an extremely visual person, so I'm going to give you visual cues to guide it and try to understand it. I also believe it's important for us to use the left side, the analytical side, component of our brains that deals with that type of stuff, that deals with number crunching, putting stuff together. So if I communicate in one language and it's not your primary language, try to learn that language if you can, but try not to get distracted by it. So this is not just a teaching of concept, but this is also a providing opportunity in real time for you to do an exercise, kind of like a virtual workshop. Now, a little bit of meta. Technology is a medium, and we have general understandings in the spiritual, metaphysical, occult communities, and even some types of physics ones, that time doesn't really exist. Most of us think of time as linear. You have 1 second, then you have the second before, and the second before, and there's a lot of deep mystics who say, no, everything is all happening at once. Time is actually like this. Time is linear, but instead of horizontal, it's all at once. It's all different moments of now. So one thing that you could do is imagine that I'm talking directly to you. Even if you've heard and seen this recording before, imagine that you are in the moment of now where I am saying this in real time as this was first being filmed, that you were right behind the camera, or that better yet, if you can, if you've touched unity consciousness, that the camera is your eye, is your mind. So as awareness, how do you do magic? How do you understand magic? How do we frame magic? Well, we have this general definition, but I'd say it's more of a disclaimer. This Arthur C. Clarke, it's technology we don't fully understand. And this is technology of consciousness. But magic, for the purposes we're using it here, is how consciousness affects the world around us. Now, the macrocosm is the microcosm. As Deepak Chopra says, the universe is inside you, and what you affect and transmute alchemically in your own personal bodily soul laboratory is often what you might see around the world. Wayne Dyer says, you change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. Marianne Williamson said, if somebody's really bothering you, really irritating you, pray for them for 30 days. At the end of the 30 days, they're going to change or you won't care. So let's think about, for a second, the names and the forces we're evoking and these terms that you might want to even pause the video when you hear a big nugget like this. And I'll say one of them again. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Take somebody who maybe cut you off in traffic. You're driving somewhere, you're biking somewhere, and somebody immediately goes in front of you and you have to make a quick adjustment. Do you reactively, non-thinkingly feel angry, make a judgment, honk, get irritated, have the quality of your life lowered for any period of time? Or is your default response, wow, I hope that person is safe. I hope they're okay. I wish them well. I forgive them for this interruption. If it's a mother with a choking baby, I hope everything's resolved all right. Unless they're terrible people, then you could think something else. But for general purposes, do you think in terms of fear, or do you think in terms of love? The more you focus on the aspect of you that is anger, the more you become that. You could say, I am becoming angry, I am angry. That I am statement is a very powerful one. Or you could say, I want to be peaceful. I feel peaceful. I do peaceful things. I am peaceful. And so what are these two shifts for I am angry, I am peaceful? Both of those I ams were authentic to this self, this vessel. They were just different aspects. So when you're at peace, that's very different from the day-to-day, beta wave, task-oriented way we're doing things. And if you feel a difference in yourself from peace to describing and going on an agenda and hearing techniques and speaking more quickly, you'll notice the difference in consciousness. And we want to be from this level of stillness when we're doing the types of magic we're focusing on. It'll be a very useful technique for you in your spiritual growth to be at stillness. It'll be very helpful if you're ever feeling emotional and you haven't done a lot of the enlightenment spectrum work, to just get in the preparing for magic phase. Again, emotional magic, separate topic, advanced topic. I would not recommend it if you haven't gone deeply down an enlightenment journey, because emotions often can mean distorted perceptions. And if you see reality in a distorted way, in a triggered way, coming from a wound, coming from a fear, coming from a hurt, your magic's going to be different. Likely you could hurt somebody or yourself, and I don't want to teach people how to do that. I want to teach people how not to do that, but for now, we're focusing on the peace, and we're focusing on the stillness.